Welcome back to another episode, everyone. In the past few episodes, we've been quite busy. We've created a Connect wallet scene, we've even deployed our own token, imported the token into Unity, and created a reward pool to reward our players with our native in-game token. Now, that's all good, like that's actually already quite a bit, but something is still lacking. You know, we've got this in-game economy and this in-game, I guess, currency reward system, but there are no real assets that we can use as NFTs. So let's have a quick look here. You'll see that in this specific game we use a ball. So the ball is kind of like the primary player character, the primary controller, I'd say. In other games that would differ, you know, if you think about like a first-person shooter, gun skins is nothing new, character costumes is nothing new. So we'll be trying to follow that same trend by going to customize. Now at the moment, nothing here is working. Our ball is just standard, it's white, and even our little customization screen here says that we need a script in order to do this. So today we'll be looking at actually creating an NFT. We'll look at creating an NFT, uploading it to IPFS, and preparing it for the next episode where we'll be looking at minting the NFT. So let's get started. The best way to do this is to choose your IPFS provider of choice. Now, for me, that comes in the form of chain-safe storage, just because it's really simple, it's easy to use, and it's free, so why not, right? I'll make sure to link this down in the description so that you guys can go to it as well if you were keen to have a look at it. But for now, let's launch the app. There you go, I'm already in. I've signed in with my Google account, so it already knows it's me. But essentially you've got buckets, CIDs, and API keys. Now you can use this as an API, but I won't be doing that. We don't need to do that. We just need to know what buckets are and what CIDs are. So buckets really are just little folders where you can store your project files or your NFTs or whatever kind of files that you want to put on IPFS, and the CIDs are the IDs that you pin to IPFS that you can reference using your classic IPFS URL. So in the bucket, in here, we need to create a new JSON metadata file. So if we go to any JSON editor, any kind of JSON editor that you would like to use, you can even use Notepad. Hell, if you really wanted to, you can even use Notepad, because we will need to save it as a Notepad file anyway. So for this NFT, we can use a few different key value pairs. NFT metadata is really what gives an NFT value. Without this, an NFT is just a token, like any other ERC20 token. This is kind of where you can see traits and attributes come into play, like color, rarity, you know, that kind of thing. If you go to OpenSea, you see heaps of that. So for this example, we want to create a skin for our ball in the form of an NFT. So for this example, what we can do is we can either download a skin, or we can just reference a skin URL from a Google image or whatever and add that as a skin. So for now, I'm just going to quickly go into let's try something silly. Let's try the Windows XP background. So if I go, let's go into images. We'll just make sure we get like a decent image. We can copy the image address, and we can go to JSON editor, and under the image here, we can paste that URL. Under the description, now that we know what kind of image it's going to be, for instance, if you had like an 8-ball, or you had a basketball, or you had a tennis ball, you'd obviously, you know, name it that way, and the description would be similar to that as well. For me, I'm just going to go Windows XP ball. The description is going to be a classic. Wow, I just got blank. What would I call this? What description would we use here? I don't know, that's really dumb, but a classic era of balls. I mean, why not? And I just want to kind of show you guys as well that, you know, you can kind of add an indefinite amount of key value pairs here. For instance, we could even go as far as saying something like score multiplier, and we can make this like 5. So when we actually import this into Unity, you can deserialize this whole URI, and you'll be able to use this score multiplier to multiply the general score by. And you can use this in a lot of things. If you think about like a sword, right? Like certain sword NFTs or assets might have different statistics. For instance, a great sword might do more damage, whereas like, you know, a light sword or whatever might do less. This is where you would use this. You would be able to implement something simple like damage, you know, and the damage might be 19 for a light sword and like, I don't know, 38 for a big sword. And when you assign the NFT in game, you can actually use this data from NFT metadata in game as in-game logic. This is where the whole thing that I just keep preaching, on-chain validation, off-chain logic, comes into play. So let's just get rid of this. We don't need this. All right, perfect. We'll just copy that over, make sure that it all looks good. Yep, it does. So we can grab all of that there, copy it into a notepad file, boom, and we can then save this. You can save it as anything, but I'll be saving it as one.json. Cool, great, perfect. So now if I go back to my buckets here, I can actually create a new bucket. I'm gonna call it roll with it. It's gonna be just chain safe IPFS. Sure enough, it's there. So we can go into it, and once the bucket's ready, we can upload a new file. Pretty standard stuff. Let's see if we can find. Oh, I see. Okay, there we go. So I actually. Hang on. Okay, so this is just a great place to point out that you can see my Windows has for some reason saved this as a TXT file. Just make sure that you're saving it as a JSON file. It needs to be name.json. So in my case, it's just one.json. So we can go bam, drag and drop, start upload. And I mean, you can do this if you want to use a different service, that's totally fine. You can do, you know, those like classic 10,000 items, 100 items. It really depends on what you want to do. This is primarily just an educational demo to show you guys how you can actually create the metadata for a token, mint a token, and then use it within Unity. So there we go. The upload is actually complete. So the next step after seeing our little CID here is to copy that, because we need the CID to remain pinned to the IPFS. So we'll go pin CID. We'll call this ball skin, because it's a skin for the ball. And this is the CID that we just copied, and we're going to be pinning it. So it will get queued and it will eventually get pinned. It doesn't take that long. But while this is being pinned, let's go back to Remix, because you see now we've got a token contract and we've got a reward contract, but we're missing something. We need an NFT contract. So let's go back to Unity, go back to the tutorial folder, Solidity, and we can finally deploy our very last contract, which is our NFT contract. Now this one here, if we just copy and paste all of that, go back to Remix, create a brand new contract called Ball NFTs. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. You can name it anything you want. This houses our NFT functions. So I chose an ERC1155 because I want a lot of people to be able to mint the same skin. You can use 721 here as well if you want. I'll just mention that we have to change the contract name here, so we can go ball skins. Yeah. The collection name here, we can call them ball skins, and that's pretty much it. We've got the standard ERC1155 Open Zeppelin standard methods here, stuff like URI, stuff like balance off, stuff like transfer, safe transfer, and of course we've got mint. So this mint function here has quite a few requires. For instance, if you connect and it's not your wallet, it will revert saying it's not your wallet. If you try to mint more than one, it's going to say you can only mint one, so it restricts you to only minting one NFT, but you also can't mint blank. So yeah, there's that as well. You don't need this. Again, this is like in the previous episode with a reward contract. You can set requires for extra validation and security, hence the reason this is here. And then of course we've got a function here that will allow us to set the URI for our token. So don't worry about this. This is just saying we're declaring 2 URI functions, but we need this one in order to actually set the URI. But in saying that though, I'm not a Solidity guru, so if someone's watching this and they know a better way of doing this, please comment. I would love you a long time. It would mean a lot. Thanks. Cool. So we can go here. We can go and just double check that's fine. And now we can choose ball skins. Make sure that your contract is your contract name, and we'll deploy that. Let's see what happens. Let's go ahead, click confirm. Same as before, we'll just wait for that to deploy. All right, perfect, cool, great. And now we should see ball skins, look at that. And there's our min function right there. Although this min function has a lot of arguments compared to the previous functions, so you can expect that in Unity, the functions will be a lot, the functions in Unity will be a lot longer because there's a lot more arguments that have to be passed here. So let's go back to Unity, but first we need to grab the token address. So I have a contract address. So grab the contract address, go back to your contract manager, because remember we need to update the contract address. This is only, again, if you create a new contract. You don't have to. I'm recording this now, but I'll make sure to comment in here that you don't need to do that. And I'll update it so that you guys know that, you know, if you don't want to use anything that's not the standard one already, you don't have to update this. But there we go. So we've updated this to be our balls. Whoops, that's actually my bad. I take it back. We need to do the NFT contract. Perfect. Okay, cool. So almost updated the wrong contract address there. We need to update the NFT contract address right there. Perfect. All right, cool. So now the next step is to let's go back and see if our storage has been pinned. So let's just refresh this. Cool, there you go. So your CID is pinned. At this stage, you'll be able to click on this little arrow here, and it's going to take you straight to your IPFS URL. There you go. So we've got our IPFS URL, which looks like this, and we'll be deserializing this in the next episode when we actually pull the NFT information in, and then we'll be using this as well to kind of change off-chain logic or in-game logic based on the on-chain validation. I hope this was helpful. If you've got any questions, feel free to just leave me a comment in the comments, and I'll be happy to see how I can help. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode.